Welcome to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Mark. I got Luke/Daniel back with me again. Luke's still out with the flu. Shout out, Luke. I know you're listening. Get better, buddy. The Grizzlies win last night.
Woo!
Good show. What a day. It is a damn good day to be a Grizzlies fan. I tell you that right now. Daniel, do you know, starting off strong, do you know the only two players to have 49 in a Grizzlies uniform?
Has to be Ja and Bane. Has to be.
Only two, baby. John Morant and Desmond Bane.
Are those
only two Grizzlies players?
Two best offensive players ever for the Grizzlies?
Absolutely. Yeah, hands down. It's not even close. What Desmond Bane has become, over the course of last year and this year is nothing short of exceptional. I mean, you see people online for whatever reason. I don't know what got into last night arguing about Austin Reeves over Desmond Bane, which is just look. If you think Austin Reeves and Desmond Bane in the same category, you are smoking some serious dumb shit. Like I don't know how to help you. I really don't know how to help you. If you think that, send this to all the Lakers fans. You really think that? I really don't know what to do for you because they're not even close. Austin Reeves is an above average role player, and Desmond Bane, dare we say, is an elite. I mean, he's an all-star for sure this year. I don't know. I don't know if he'll get an all-star bid because of the Grizzlies record. I think that will be his downfall.
I think he'll be all right. I think he'll get votes for sure, especially if Ja comes back. I think this has a really good chance to bolster, the wins real quickly, and I think they can kind of get rolling. Listen, I don't know why he couldn't. He's one of the best players in the game right now, and I also think we should clip that and put that out on social media for all the Lakers fans.
I'm all for it because, again, I don't know how to help you. But, I think that a lot of the times you see with all-star bids, you just see players on bad teams, really good players on really bad teams don't always get the love they deserve because they're on the bad team. And you see a lot of, he's putting up however many shots because there's no one else to put him up. Right. And that's true to an extent. Like for Desmond, there really is no one else to score the basketball except for him right now. And so it will be interesting to see. Like you said, if Ja comes back and they stack some wins together in their pitcher, I think if he continues to play like he is right now, I think he should be an all-star, and I don't think there's any questions about it. But I digress. We could talk about Desmond Bane in our stats monster because spoiler alert, he was it. If you listened to this show yesterday, just myself solo, he was our stats monster preview. I thought Desmond was going to have a big game. I did not predict Desmond having 49 points, was 7 assists, 6 rebounds, a block, a steal. I mean, still, and all that. And you would think Desmond Bane, who is the best 3-point shooter by percentage since 2021 in people who shot over, I don't know if you saw that graphic that floated around. Yeah. People who shot over 1,000 attempts. He's the best one. Yeah. You would think, he probably had 9 threes. He had 4. He was 4 from 8 from 3, and he had 49 points. So much for the best perimeter, or so much for the best interior defense for the Pistons. So much.
He was blowing by Bojangles last night. Like Taylor Jenkins' step kid, Bojangles, was just flat-footed, lead foot. Dude, he had no chance. And thankfully, Dez got downhill. And that's why they call him Downhill Dez, man. Like the dude just got to the front of the bucket, and even Jalen Duren couldn't do anything about it. Like it was.
I think you really saw it. I almost clicked for Dez in that third quarter. We had a couple of those like coast to coast, and he's like, "This is too easy. It's too easy." And you could see it after that. It's like there was no chance that anybody was stopping him. And I think he finally maybe realized that throughout in that third quarter, and you could really see his mindset, but just the kind of the way he was attacking the game, it changed a little bit. But again, the Grizzlies win behind Desmond Bane 116-102. Was a bit of a precarious game in that first half, though. The first half, again, on this show yesterday, when I previewed this game, really talked about their ability to force him outside.
Right.
Pistons are one of the worst shooting 3-point teams in the league. They are dead last in attempts, almost last in a percentage. And we talked about forcing them to shoot outside, and because they are one of the best paint scoring teams in the league. They score in the paint at an incredible rate. They're second in 2-point attempts in the league right now. And the Grizzlies didn't do that. It felt like, for all intents and purposes, it felt like the Pistons could do whatever they wanted on offense in the interior.
Well, if you look at the first half, like it was 56-52 at halftime. The score, it felt like it was 30-35. Like it was just ugly basketball. The Pistons kind of did what they wanted to, but also like it wasn't pretty. It wasn't good. The Grizzlies couldn't hit shots. Like if I see another X missed layup at the front of the rim, like I'm going to lose my mind. Because and honestly, like shout out to Taylor Jenkins, he never played X in the second half. Like he went to a much shorter rotation. He went away from Derrick Rose, who didn't look like he, was viable in this game. And he kind of relied on two guys, which I know that one is loved and one is not as much loved, and Jalen Noel and John Conchar. And he actually stuck with them because they were doing more in the game. Listen, I know Taylor Jenkins gets the hate, but in that moment, whatever coaching staff said that, or whether it's him or whoever you're going to give the credit to here at Grizz Twitter, like whatever that decision made, that was a great decision to go away from the guys who didn't have it and stick with the guys who did. Like it's simple, but honestly, it was effective.
Absolutely. I mean, as a guy who is a noted John Conchar hater, he played really well last night. He again 2 for 2 from 3. The guy had 9 points. And ultimately, I'm gonna throw some shots out while I'm complimenting as well. I'd say it's gonna be a backhanded compliment for me from John Conchar. If you're scoring 9 points, I'm impressed. That's the fucking problem. That is the problem. But ultimately, again, 9 points that were really crucial, because at halftime he had 6 points. Jalen Noel had 6 points, 12 points. I think I tweeted this last night because I was running the Grizzly Bear Blues Twitter account. 18 points from people who weren't Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. 12 of those were from Jalen Noel and John Conchar. You had, Bismack Biyombo, David Roddy, 0 points in the starting lineup, which they ended up with 4 and 2. They did not help you at all. But John Conchar was really good last night. He was effective, had a really big clutch 3. I think that if he would just shoot the ball more, and I think it's always a criticism of John Conchar, is that he does a lot of little things well. And even when, he's not shooting the ball, he's still maybe helping you. But if he just shot the ball like willingly instead of passing every time, every time he's seeing the ball, he looks like he's like, I am not shooting this one. It's not going to be on me that we lose. It's not my fault. No siree. But in doing that, I think that a lot of times you get a lot of missed opportunities. And so, but shout out to John Conchar. He was really good last night. Jalen Noel was another solid game from him. 6 for 8 from the field, 12 points. All around, like you said, like you mentioned, that was a great job from Taylor Jenkins to kind of go away from those guys. And in the fourth quarter, when in the third kind of start of fourth, middle of fourth, when the Grizzlies needed the most, some of those guys came on. You had a shot from Santi Aldama, had a 3 from David Roddy. Had a couple shots from Santi, had a 3 from John Conchar. So like there was finally help. Desmond Bane put it in the back signal, and he's like, guys, I need something. Please, God, anything. And those guys came through. So it was not great from the bench, but they did it when they really needed it. So.
Yeah, no, you can look at the numbers, and these numbers do not matter. But the plus minus numbers you're looking at just 3 guys off the bench. Aldama plus 14, Conchar was a plus 22, and Vince Williams was a plus 17. Why those stats don't matter? Desmond Bane, 49 points. He was a -1 in the game. Okay,
this is why they don't matter.
They don't matter. The only thing I look at is if I see a big plus, and if I see something different than the others, then I think of it as, okay, maybe they went on a big run while they were in the game. But it also goes to be saying simply that they were effective. The bench guys were effective, and that was the biggest thing. And honestly, if you look at what you were talking about with Jenkins, like literally, he did go through those guys, and the 3 guys that are plus in the game, those are the 3 guys he kind of stuck with that off the bench. But all around, man, I just think it was a great team win, but mainly on the back of Bane. Like without Bane, to get back to your point earlier, without Bane, I know the All-Star bid could be actually like, it's minimalized because they're not winning. If they didn't have Desmond Bane on this team, trade out Desmond Bane with anybody other than John Morant. And this team doesn't have 3 wins, let alone 6 at this point.
Yeah.
So
maybe not any. Maybe not
any. It's bad.
And that's facts. And yeah, to your point, I just, that's why I don't always put a lot of, and I noticed I almost texted you that last night. I'm sure you talked about it on the show, but that's why I don't put a lot of stock into plus minus sometimes, because they have 49 points, 8 assists from Desmond, which they actually changed that. Looks like they credited him with another assist after the game. So a negative -1 on the plus minus for a almost 50 piece is so stupid. And then, I thought Jaren was good in spots. I thought he was good when I think he realized it was Desmond's game. Like he, and like also shout out to those guys getting him shots late. Like Desmond was like late in the fourth quarter, up 10 points. 2 minutes ago, he's like, I'm shooting the ball, right? Like that's some 2K shit, and I love it. I am here for it. Like, go out and get your points. I was like, just get him a 3. Let him get a 50 piece. So I love it. I thought Jaren was good though. He was effective when he was needed to be. But Jalen Duren is a beast, man. Jalen Duren is a hell of a basketball player. And their front court, and Sarah Thompson and Jalen Duren is really, really good. And I think they got I know that the Pistons fans, it's hard to see the forest of the tree sometimes, but those guys are very good, and they will be very good for a long time. I mean, that's a good comment. I think so. Yeah. I mean, I do.
Okay, so last night talking to Greg Waddell of Sleepers Media, he's a Pistons fan. He does cover college basketball a lot, but he was on the postgame show with me last night for anybody that didn't watch. And he was very much going into detail about this team and who they are and the kind of the makeup of it. But he went into a lot of the former, Tigers or the Memphis Ties kids, whether it's Jaden Ivey, whether it's Wiseman, whether it's Jalen Duren. And they love Jalen Duren, like by far. But I think the issue is there's something missing with this team. I think Jalen Duren's awesome. I think Cade Cunningham is good with numbers in a sense. Like there's stats there. I don't know and I think their kind of the fan base is like, all right, is he a winner? And I think that's what it comes down to. I think they're great. And I hate that the Grizzlies did not go and grab Jalen Duren when he was falling in the draft last year. But that's a whole other thing. But yeah, hopefully he's healthy because he turned his ankle late in that game last night.
It did not look good. It looked pretty nasty. Hopefully he comes back pretty soon. But I love Jalen Duren. I think what the Pistons are missing is a Desmond Bane. I mean, obviously they're missing a wing. I mean, that Cade Cunningham is good, but he's more of a true point guard. I mean, he's good in getting people the ball, right? He's not a playmaker. And that is ultimately what you're missing. But like half the teams in the NBA are missing a playmaker, right? And that's the issue. People are like, we just need a 3-and-D guy. Well, so does everybody else. Like
everybody wants
shit. Everybody needs a 3-and-D guy. So like, and that's kind of where Desmond Bane, I think is besides Ja, like he's the most untouchable player on this team. I mean, I would trade Jaren before. I mean, I don't want to trade Jaren, but I would trade Jaren before I would trade Desmond. You just don't come along. You don't come along with scores like that that often at all. I mean, at all, especially as low as they got him. I mean, that is like that is like the whatever storyline they make on 2K, like, made it up the ranks. That's Desmond Bane. Like it just is. And they don't come around that often. But to last night, I mean, I thought that, again, like you said, the bench guys were good. They were effective. And I'm glad, because Xavier Tillman, he looked like garbage. It's a French term for trash. Bismack Biyombo was also not good. I mean, he hasn't been good. He was getting smoked. I mean, Jalen, I mean, I know you got him out there, have a big body. He had 11 rebounds, but still, he did not. I think they were at times. I mean, they were running that side pick and roll and forcing him to step or forcing him to make decisions, and he always made the bad one because there's always a alley oop or if he's stepping up, it's always an alley oop on the backside. Or if he steps back, it's a lane to the basket. So I thought they did a good job in that first half of really running that side pick and roll. They ran it a lot, forcing the Grizzlies to make decisions and rotate badly, and the Grizzlies did just that.
Yeah, well, I think that's the Pistons' offense is the pick and roll. Yep. They want to get to that, and they also want to get into the paint. I think that's really what helped the Grizzlies is the paint, defense that they have, forcing them out because they didn't have a lot of shooters. If you look at that team, there are not many shooters. Cade, I think he hit 2 3-pointers. Bojangles, who we had in the Discord, one of the plays that I had him at 3 and 4, made 3-pointers, and he cashed for us there. But you're talking about a team that is guys that want to get into the paint and kind of muck it up a little bit and into your interior of your defense. And the Grizzlies are very good at that. And so Bismack Biyombo on that, yeah, he's fine. He's great. He allows Jaren to kind of be Jaren, which had another 3 blocks last night. But the thing is, like, Biyombo's not the answer. All right. Yeah. And as everybody's saying as well, Jalen Noel might not be the answer either. But, like, there's some big decisions being made. I know we've talked about that earlier, but there's some big decisions being made because there's players that aren't playing. They are healthy DNPs that are high draft picks that we might have to play if we don't figure out a way to make room for Jalen Noel and Bismack Biyombo. And so, man, there's so much happening. I'm excited about it because that means that there's going to be something happening. So, but man, I just think that Pistons team did what they wanted to do early. Second half, they cut the water off.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, that was the name of the preview yesterday, was forcing them outside, forcing them to shoot jumpers, forcing them to shoot from the perimeter. And I joked because I was like, the Grizzlies are really good at doing that. They're really good at letting people shoot wide open threes. That's like their MO this year. So they did just that in that fourth quarter, and you saw just they had a lot of wide open stuff and just couldn't hit anything. They shot, or they hit 11 threes. They hit exactly their league average right now, which is good for 29th in the league. You don't win a lot of NBA games hitting 11 threes, but hey, the Grizzlies hit 11 threes last night. So, I didn't see their points in the paint last night. The Grizzlies' final points in the paint. I don't know if you saw it, but I will guess that it was above 55. I would say it's 56.
Points in the paint. Wow. Which team had 56?
I'd say the Grizzlies. Either really, probably.
56 for the Pistons, 50 for the Grizzlies. Like, wow. I was like, man, he had to have seen this number.
No, I'm just guessing because the last 4 games or the last 3 games before this game, they've had above 56 every game. And that's what I've kind of harped on this year is that's like, hey, let's get back to the paint. Let's get back to what we know best. And I love the 5-out system, but we do not have the players for a 5-out system. Yeah. Again, the Pistons do a lot of what the Grizzlies should look to do. Their offense and the way they run things is what the Grizzlies have been doing the past couple of years. And that's what the Grizzlies have the personnel for. I'm interested to see if that will change once Ja gets back. I mean, like, just schematically, if that is, I know Ja will force the paint, right? Ja will force the pick and rolls. He'll force those issues and those things will come. The points in the paint will increase because of that. But I'm curious to see schematically what they will do in terms of just their system. This year, they have been trying to play a 5-out or mostly 4-out system, which has not worked at all. And the only wins they've really come have been when they've gotten above 56 points in the paint. I think last night was just a combo of the Pistons missing a lot of shots. And that's why they still won with 50 points in the paint. And that's going to happen. But they did a good job of that in the second half, like you mentioned, of forcing them outside. Something that scared me was rebounding. In that game. And there was a point in that game in the third quarter, they had offensive rebound after offensive rebound. And I was like, oh no, please don't do this, because the Pistons are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. But they only end up with 8. I think that third quarter was just a bunch at once. And it was like, okay, kind of settle down after that. But there was a bunch right in a row that did not, it scared me.
Yeah. Well, they did a good job of keeping them off the glass enough. But, there wasn't, really wasn't much happening overall within the rebounding. It was pretty even. The thing that stuck out to me was the free throws.
Yeah.
Like, 23 total free throws. That game flew by last night. I went down to visit Sane at his watch party, and I left at halftime, and I literally got back. It was the end of the third quarter when I got back home just from that. Like, I literally drove for a full quarter. I get in, I'm trying to set my stuff up, and it's like 5 minutes to go in the game. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I'm trying to watch the game. So shout out to the refs for not calling anything. That was phenomenal.
Against two teams who have the highest and third highest foul rate in the league.
Yeah.
So
great.
Shout out to the rest. They did not want to be there either. Clearly they had stuff to do after the game. So shout out to those guys. Yeah. I mean, again, overall, I think it was a good, like you said, a very good team win. Desmond Bain is the reason for the season. Shout out to our Lord and Savior, Desmond Bain. We appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies have, what was it, 6 more games before Ja comes back? Is that what it is?
Yep. No, 5. 5.
It's getting closer and closer. It comes back on my birthday, December 19th. Shout out to Mark.
No gifts.
Yeah, I think that the Grizzlies, and like you mentioned last week, winning Wednesdays. Winning Wednesdays.
That's 2 in a row I've called. Next one's against the Rockets, at Rockets. We're good on the road, terrible at home.
I can get on board with that. With winning Wednesdays. The Grizzlies take on the Timberwolves tomorrow.
Yep.
At home at 8:00. This is the second of the playing games they inserted because of the poor play that the Grizzlies had in the in-season. Before we leave, how do you feel about the in-season tournament?
I've liked it.
The IST, if you will,
yeah.
as we Hoopers call it.
When I started seeing IST, I'm like, all right, what did I miss? And then I started thinking, like, what is IST? I'm like, oh, it's in season. Like, we're literally putting this out there like that. I've actually liked it because I think in the middle of the season, it would be great because it's downtime, whatever. I think early in the season, if you want to kind of, hey, this is before the trade deadline, way before. I know teams are trying to figure it out, but it gives a little bit of a little substance to the season. I like it. I think there's ways that they could tweak it, and I think that will happen. But the fact that it's the first year, I think it's been a huge success. These teams are going for it. Like, I didn't think they would be, but you know what's great about it is betting, because the lines are off, because everything is lower, and these guys end up playing 35 to 40 minutes, and it only bumps up their stuff. And then the role players, it goes down. So go the under on the role players. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, solid betting advice on the daily grind from one of the 2 betting guys here at Bluff City Media. So I like it. I think that you're right. I think a little later on will be a little bit more. The only thing, and I think it will be one of those things where it will continue to get better the more they play, the more they do. Yeah. They'll get tweak it. I wish there was something for the fans to care about, right? In terms of just the winning. I mean, the winning's cool, but obviously, a lot of times, I'm a big Premier League fan. And so obviously those, what they model this after is like the FA Cup over in England, or, Champions League or something like that. And those things have been around for so long. People just care about the FA Cup, but something like this, I think, for me, that's what looked this like a long time ago. We were talking about the show is like, if you threw in a draft pick, right? If it between first and second round, it'd just be make it a big deal. Right after the first round, like, hey, this is like, the in-season tournament draft pick. It's just one thing, right? In between the first and second round, and you make it tradable. Like you can trade that asset. You make it. It's just an asset for the team to be able to utilize beyond just I think you make it something for the fans to care about, right? Like they can get on board with the next draft pick, or a draft pick you can continue to trade for. You could trade it in that season, right? You get that, you win, you get that pick. Well, guess what? Before the trade deadline, if you're winning the in-season tournament, you're probably a good team, right? So you need you have assets to continue to try to build that team. I mean, there would be some CBA stuff stuff to put around it, regulations, but I think that it would be the easiest way and the best way to make me care about it more as a fan. I would care about it just because the Grizzlies were in it. But I think if you do that, I think you would care about. I would care about it even more. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's tough. It's hard to put that because honestly, that's just another second round pick. We view the end of the first round, maybe start of the second round, as being a prime spot. for free. I think that's good. I don't know if all the fans. I think the smart fans would appreciate it, but maybe that's what you need. I think maybe that's what you're looking for is the smart fans get something to buy in, because the other casual fans are just cheering because their team is playing and possibly winning. Maybe you're right. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, I mean, the money's great, but that's for the players, and you know, that's awesome. And I think LeBron's like openly said he wants to win it for the you know, the bench players. I got something on my beard.
I had a question about
Desmond cappuccino on my beard.
Good question about Desmond Bain. Trivia question. We always do this on our show. Do you know Desmond Bain's nickname when he was in college? Since this is a Desmond Bain show.
Ooh.
And the person that gave it to him was his coach.
I have no idea.
TCU.
Let me look up on Basketball Reference though while I'm just kidding. While I'm on Basketball Reference. I have no idea. I'm not good with nicknames. I assign nicknames to guys that probably are not like, they're not normal nicknames. Like I called Luke Kennard the Nard Dog because of The Office, but like no one else catches on to that. I've been trying to get to catch up for a couple of years. No one cares. But I don't know. What you tell them.
Yep. So TCU coach, former Pitt coach, Jamie Dixon, the beautiful slick back hair guy he is, gave him the nickname Honey Bun. And so
that's a terrible nickname.
I interviewed him forever ago, and he's like, hey, let me tell you something that you don't know, not many people do. And I was like, all right. And so he told me that his nickname was Honey Bun because he was a little thicker, like even more like then. He said,
a thick boy.
Yeah. He said he would always be around campus. Anytime he would run into him, he's always eating one of those, you know, those glazed over honey buns, like literally. Like, so he ended up starting to call him Honey Bun. And so it stuck with him through college. And then all of a sudden, his junior and senior year, he just trimmed everything and was just like a rock. And so at that point, the name started falling off, but it was kind of comical still. But yeah.
He went from Honey Bun to Honey Bun.
I see what you did.
He was a thick boy. He's still a thick boy, but man, that shit's all muscle now. So
yep.
Shout out to Desmond Bain. Look, it's been a great show. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Well, if we feel a good note on the Honey Bun situation, I feel like that's a good note to wrap it up. And we'll be back tomorrow with another show. I didn't do any shameless promotion today, but if you're not already a Bluffs Media Insider, make sure you go and do that. It's super easy, super affordable, and super fun. It's $5 a month. If you don't do that, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps us out, helps us continue to do these shows. This show, the post-game show we have after every game with Daniel and Nate, sometimes special guest. So you guys go and do that. Support the channel. It's been awesome so far this year. Kind of our first full year doing Grizzlies stuff. So it's been really fun. Daniel, appreciate you joining me. And we'll be back tomorrow. Maybe with Luke, maybe with me, maybe with just Daniel. I don't know. We don't know. We'll be back tomorrow no matter what, though. Someone will be on this show talking about the Grizzlies basketball like we do every single day. See you then.